Welcome to this week's episode of Build the Weight Loss Practice of Your Dreams. I'm your host, Carol Clark, and at the time of this recording, we are beginning the month of March, and we're going to call this our lucky month because we're going to be talking about 5 different lucky charms, so to speak, that you should have in your practice in order to have a thriving practice that you really enjoy. And I say lucky charms, but actually each one of them does require hard work, as we all know, in order to get to those accomplishments. But all too often I talk to people, maybe this is you, and I've been there before myself, but perhaps you feel like you're working really hard and you're just not getting anywhere. Or you go to the office or you go to work every day with these great goals and intentions and things that you're going to get accomplished, and it seems like you just put out fires all day long. And this can relate to the physician and the administrator and any person who works in your practice. The other thing is you may be spending a lot of money on marketing because it's a sure thing. It's definitely going to be bringing people through your doors, and yet at the end of the day, there's sort of crickets or really no true return on investment with those marketing efforts. Or maybe you have a high team turnover, so you just always feel like you're starting from scratch, or you're all the time spending time training people, and yet you don't really see that ownership and follow through that you really want and need in your practice. And finally, you may be having high gross revenues, but at the end of the day, you're paying everybody what they are worth, perhaps except for yourself. So these things happen in private practice. It happens just about everywhere in any business. But we're going to be talking about 5 different things that can help with these different issues, making sure that they are not happening on a regular basis and making sure that you are really enjoying the time along the way with your team, with your patients, and most importantly, your life. So let's get right to it. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 different ones and focus on the first one, and then we'll go over each one every week for the podcast this month. So I also have a freebie for you that kind of summarizes a lot of the information, and you can click on the link below to get access to that. So my goal is just to have you have a practice that you really, really enjoy, and it is possible. So I see this across the US. I've seen it in our practice, and I know it's taken us a long time to figure out these lucky charms, but once you get them down, it can make a huge difference. So what are those 5 lucky charms? The first one really is to focus on, I've mentioned this before, but focus on your main thing. What is it that you provide, which it drives most of your patients into your practice? So for weight loss surgeons, it's bariatric surgery, even though you may have some other things, but that's your main service that you offer. For medical weight loss providers, it's that program, that one-on-one coaching and the program that you have established that you really work closely with your patients with accountability and a comprehensive program to help them lose weight. So once you know what your main thing is and you know that you've got that kind of working really well for you, the next thing that you want to do in terms of this first lucky charm is to add additional revenue streams. And I've mentioned this before, I know, but I want to talk a little bit about some really strategies or some principles that you have to keep in mind when you're adding additional revenue streams into your practice. And then I'll touch on the other 4 lucky charms, so to speak. But anytime you're talking about adding some additional revenue streams into your practice, it took actually my husband and I probably it's not until the last decade that we really figured this out, and we really found a way to add revenue streams that our patients are looking for and that they want and are easy enough to implement, so it doesn't so it actually boosts your bottom line but also boosts your patients' outcomes, and also doesn't always rely on the physician. Having those additional revenue streams in place really helps, especially if your physician's on vacation or your main caregiver's on vacation or has some sort of an extended leave that's required, anything like that. It just helps with the stability of your revenue stream. So first of all, you want to make sure that it is something that you believe in, and it's something that you know will help your patients and will be helpful for your business as well. And so what you want to do is make sure they're complementary revenue streams. So you see this all over the place in many specialties. You see orthopedic surgeons who also have things in their office like physical therapy. They also have additional MRI testing, radiology. They have bone density testing. There are all these different revenue streams that they've added into their practice. They're complementary. Their patients need it. And so why not offer it as a one-stop shop? But first of all, they had their orthopedic practice very up and running in a very efficient way. Or that's the way it should be done. You see ear, nose, and throat docs who also offer allergy testing and also oftentimes a little bit of aesthetics depending on their training and the things that they want to add into their practice. So you have those sorts of things. Physicians get involved in surgery centers. They're providing surgery, so they actually buy into that as an additional revenue stream. So there's lots of different things that you can look at that make a lot of sense for your practice. When you're looking for additional revenue streams, you do need to do your due diligence. You need to make sure that it is something that will really add to your practice and not take away from what you're doing, that it does have a positive bottom line, that your patients, it's actually a great way to attract new patients into your practice. And so for bariatric surgeons, I help them added medical weight loss and different, a lot of other things like retail sales and things that can actually boost their bottom line. And they're things that their patients want, need, and are purchasing already. So those are some things. And we dive into that a bit deeper in Bariatric Business Boss. I also meet one-on-one with people, and I have a number of three top of mind additional revenue streams that work out beautifully for a weight loss surgery practice or a medical weight loss practice. So if you want to learn more about those three opportunities, reach out to me and we can go over that. But there is also, like I say, a freebie guide here too. So adding an additional revenue stream is helpful, but it has to follow those principles. And sometimes I get asked what percentage of revenue should come from other revenue streams. I do think that the majority of the revenue does come through your main offer that you have, but you can actually build additional revenue streams that can really be almost probably about, as equal to what your main thing is, or a high percentage of that revenue. And when we talk revenue, the other thing that we want to address when you're looking at additional revenue streams is you have to put together sort of a budget, do your due diligence, look at what that bottom line is going to be, because what you don't want to do is add something into your practice that's going to end up breaking even. One example of that is for most practices, and we've experienced it as well, is fitness. Now, is that the right thing to do for your patients? Sure, your patients need fitness. There's lots of ways to do that, but to have that as one of your main cost centers, it's really one of those things that you just basically break even for the most part. And so there are some that I caution you about, and there are some that are really big wins for you and for your patients. So I do want to help you with that. If you are interested, reach out to me. I've got three that are top of mind that are very, very helpful. So that's your first lucky charm. It is basically focusing on your main thing and adding additional revenue streams into your practice. The next lucky charm that we're going to talk about in some future podcasts is really embracing the lifetime value of your patient. We're going to get into some, haven't really talked about that very much, but it is something that is really important. And as you know, we're building a relationship with our patients. We just talked last month about how to do a referral program, and really embracing the lifetime value of your patient, especially for weight loss, because you have a long-term relationship with them, is really helpful for your practice for lots of different ways. We'll talk about that next week. The next one is establishing a multimedia relationship with your ideal prospective and current patients. There are easy ways to do this. I'm going to cover that too, but a multimedia, what I mean is, people relate to learn about services in a variety of ways. Video is a big one. Written materials is another one. Some things called lead magnets, that sort of thing, is another way to have a multimedia way to attract your ideal patients, and also to help support your current patients in a very low cost way. I'm all about that, making sure that things are cost effective and also efficient, so it doesn't bog down your office or your team, and also making sure that it's something that's a good thing for your practice, your patients, and your team. So that's going to be the third one. The fourth one is really really creating and establishing a team that is consistently running efficiently and effectively. And that is a big one. Your team is so important. I mention this all the time, I know, but they are your ambassadors. They are your reputation. They are the ones who really grease the wheels and make everything run smoothly. So investing in that and making sure that you train them properly and you set proper expectations is really important. So we're going to dive into that this month as well. And then finally, creating your own luck. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because it is up to you. So that's part of your decision making and creating your own luck. And I call it luck, but as we all know, it is hard work. So that's what we're going to be covering this month. I'm so excited about it. We're going to be doing a deeper dive in Bariatric Business Boss. If you're not a member, check it out, bariatricbusinessboss.com. We do a lot of one-on-one. We work through these things and really how it's going to work best into your practice. I get so jazzed meeting people from different practices and working with them and seeing so many different ways to do things. The bottom line is to create your own magic, create your own luck, which is that last one that I was talking about. And there are so many ways to do that. But I've worked through a lot of these things. Let me help you sort of make that easier for you too. I hope you found this helpful. If you have questions or anything, reach out to me, Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. This is going to be a big, exciting month. Let's look at bringing a little bit of luck along with some hard work into your practice, and it's going to be great. So I look forward to talking with you soon, and in the meantime, you have an awesome day.